welcome back, listeners, to the AIBiz podcast. I'm your host, Sana, and today's guest and conversation is truly, truly incredible. We have Edi Oduraa, and she's here to help us understand and explore how AI can relieve pressure from overfunctioning founders without adding headcount. So, a little bit about Edi with all of you. She's a civil engineer turned sacred business architect. And this is AI Biz, where business meets intelligence. So, with that, Edi, welcome to the show. And I'm really, really honored to have you here with us.
Thank you so much, Sana. So glad to be here.
Lovely, lovely. Okay, Eddie. So you often speak about, the sacred infrastructure. We have had such a beautiful conversation on around that on this plan. But then, how exactly AI fit into this? I mean, how AI fit into sacredness without turning soulful businesses just into like sterile systems.
Yes, absolutely. That's such a big topic of conversation, especially for those of us who want to live life and do business with soul. So, the way that I look at AI is just not just, but in a large ways, a thought partner and a refining source. So, you absolutely can use AI to generate original ideas, etc., and sometimes that's helpful. But I think especially if somebody is already wrestling with the idea of AI, and its implications, I like to start by just thinking of it as one step above writing in your journal or sending voice notes to yourself. Excuse me. I don't know if you have ever done this or any of the listeners have ever done this, but I know for me, sometimes when I am log jammed internally, I will just walk and do voice notes, and sometimes I'll listen back to them and I'll get insight and refining and just better understanding of myself and the steps I need to take. I think of AI as my dynamic, responsive, voice note or my journal where you can go ahead and put in your thoughts, put in your original ideas, and have dialogue around it, and especially as you use AI more, you use one, chat more specifically, it gets to know you better and better, and it becomes more a reflection, I think, of your most refined thoughts and your potential rather than necessarily, somebody else's entirely different, um thoughts and ideas, if that makes sense. And so that's how first of all, that's how I start dealing with AI. I come from it from that place of I'm giving it something and it's refining what is already inside of me, if that makes sense, And in that way, it remains soulful, it remains heart centered because our conversation and the output is all centered around what is already present and which is me, and the heart of me and my business. And for those who are using it, the heart of you and your business.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And yes, of course. I mean, not just through voice notes, but and this has been a practice since my childhood that whenever I have a lot of things or lot of activities to do in my running within my mind, I completely get flustered. I completely get confused. So I just write them down and I number them with priority. Okay, this is my first one. I'll first complete this, then I complete that. So that gives me at least head first to the just a start, a boost to start with my first action item.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's wonderful, and AI can help with that. Um, like you said, we already do this naturally when we get overwhelmed, and this just takes it one step further, using it in that context of, you can dump it in and then also, have it prioritize or say, "How can I do these more efficiently?" Or, "What are some things that, um, probably are not as critical?" Or, what is Pareto principle? You do 20% of the things that get 80% of the results. What if you using Pareto principle, which of these what 20% of these things should I focus on, today? And so exactly what you said. We're already doing some of this stuff and AI can help take it to that next level.
Mm, wonderful, wonderful. So now, since we have discussed the importance here, I know. let's talk about the fear as well, Eddie. That many leaders they feel or they have this fear that AI or this automation they could all dilute their brand essence. But according to you, is that a real risk or it's just a resistance to change that we usually, see?
Yeah. I think it's probably a similar fear to a founder who is ready to hire a VA or client experience manager or a content creator, but they don't, same thing. They don't want the brand to be diluted. They're concerned that they won't be able to carry on what they have been building. And so I think at the heart of it, whether it's AI, a different software, or a human being, is probably several things. Our businesses are our babies in so many ways, right? And it makes sense to be protective and possessive over them. But there's also from to get to a level of success, you have to control, working on control and being controlling the process, controlling the brand, all these things get you to a certain level of success. But then at a certain point, surrender and letting more people in and being okay with people doing it 80% as good as you has to be the norm for you to continue growing. And so I think some of these so the mindset around, I'm concerned about it diluting the brand is a similar kind of thing where, yes, I think it's more about perhaps control, which is okay, right? We all struggle with that. And about there are probably some ethical questions and like resistance to change. And there's a lot of news and chatter about AI, right? But at the end of the day, AI is not going to post to your social media channels without you seeing it. It can't do that, right? Without access, and really, ChatGPT can't do that at the most basic levels, right? And so you have nothing to lose by just experimenting and playing and having it write something, taking maybe your outline and writing it in your voice and refining it. And if you decide that, oh, this piece would dilute the brand, then you don't post it, But if it sounds similar to you, it's aligned, it's what you want to say, then I like to look at it as if I have a ghostwriter, or a VA who is taking my rough blog and refining it and smoothing it out. Again, taking my original idea and just making it better. And so, to the person who is concerned about using AI diluting the brand, I'd say, one, you have the final authority. You can generate 100 blog posts, and if you don't want to post any of them, you don't. But also, um, growth at a certain point requires allowing other hands into the pot, and again, you ultimately have control of the brand, of the direction. But just like at some point, you might get a content creator, a blog writer, SEO specialist for your brand. Why not utilize the tools you have today, which can be AI, and have them take your original ideas and just refine them and smooth them over?
Hmm. Yeah, that definitely gives that silver lining of hope. And so according to you, Eddie, what are the first three business functions an over-functioning founder can hand off to AI, without compromising quality or connection?
Absolutely. I think the first biggest one is thought partnership, mental clarity, because I think when you're over functioning and it's a little bit, I feel like it's a bit self-explanatory, but I will just define it a bit to say somebody who's over functioning is somebody who is taking on aspects of, whether it's in their work, elements of their business slash the process of acquiring clients or running a business. They're taking on more than is required for them, more than is their fair share slash more than needs to be done to get the results they want. And in other areas of life, emotional overfunctioning is taking on the emotions of other, taking responsibilities for that. That the whole idea is just doing too much, doing more than you need to do. um I think when we're in this headspace, there's usually a lot of mental chatter going on, a lot of perhaps confusion, a lot of stress, a lot of internal levers that are being pulled that are making us feel like we have to do all these things to get the results we want, and again, forgetting that Pareto principle. We're doing a lot of the 80% and not the 20% that would actually move the needle. So I think for a founder like this who is overfunctioning, the first thing ChatGPT or any software, I've used several different ones, can do is help provide mental clarity. And
Mm,
that's where I encourage most people to start because you're not generating anything that's going to be put out in the world. If you have odd feelings about AI, you don't have to worry about, you posting and adding to the noise online. Just
mm,
start asking really good questions of yourself, of AI. So some examples are if you've been chatting for a little bit, you could say, given what you know of me, what are the three biggest blind spots that are holding me back from whatever goal you have? Um, like if I was I pretend you're my ideal client who
mm,
needs what I have, what are the 10 reasons why you wouldn't pick me specifically? Really utilizing AI is about asking good questions. And so the first big function I would say is offloading thought partnership. And that's what I use AI for the most, honestly. Second one I would say is content refining. Um, and the way I like to do this is to have my own original pieces and content and put it into the software so it learns my voice. And then it can help me generate ideas for. So I'll break this into two. This might be it'll be two parts. One is helping me generate titles and ideas given my client journey. So given that I help people move from X to Y, I want to speak to that journey and speak to them where they're at and show them the future. So generate 10 blog titles, and then I'll create an outline for them from them, and then I'll put it back into the software and say, given my voice, which I've given it through blog posts, Instagram posts, whatever, generate this or fill out this blog post, refine it, flesh it out. And so I do like to do that. And then after that, I will still edit it, and say, I would absolutely not say that, or this is not what I meant. Um, but that's, I would say, content creation or content refining is a big second way that I use it. And then I think the third one is also research. There's certain things that um, I, you can't get a direct answer from on Google, or you're gonna get a lot of personally, I don't even use Google. I'm big on privacy, but you will get a lot of sponsored results, and the highest SEO result may not be the most effective result for you.
yeah.
The beautiful thing about AI is that it can gather information from across the web, right? So it's for me, it's a great starting place when I'm reviewing software, looking at what I want to try out. If I need a solution and I just can't get outside of I don't know what I don't know. So I'll say, what are some options with this? To meet this need in my business, what kind of software can I start looking at? What are some problems people have said about this? And, it can be, sometimes it will generate completely off the wall things, but a lot of times it's at least a good starting place. So those are the three, would say, top things. And specifically in that order that I would encourage my over functioning founders to offload.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. The most striking things which I can take away is, number one, we do have to ask the right questions, because without that, AI won't be able to give the answers we are actually looking for. And definitely, I mean, we can do, personally, I have been using AI for trying to understand my career path. I had to explain AI that, okay, these are my qualifications, these are my skills, this is what I like, and this is my resume. Now you suggest me what are different areas I can get into, I can pivot into, maybe if I can try on some other career. What do you think?
Mm.
And I was able to get some interesting answers.
Yeah.
Definitely, I think what you said can be definitely so, so helpful for founders who are kind of, they are often stuck doing tasks they secretly kind of, resent or hate.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. And one thing I'll say as well with that is what I love using AI for as well is introducing models, um, like putting things into context. For example, um, this is more about relationship, but you can translate this. Or I'll use this example. Actually, this is business. If people are familiar with EOS, which is a specific enterprise operating system, it's a way you can essentially run your business. And so you can ask the same questions you would ask AI typically, but then if you are interested in having it in the context of a particular framework or methodology, you can add that as well. So I've done that in the past where maybe I've read a book from somebody and they have to be, there has to be enough on the internet about them for for it to pull. But like Alex Hormozy, I feel like a lot of people know him. When I was pretty interested in him and his work, I had a ChatGPT generate my offer structure based on his $100 million offer structure, or you know, update my website copy based on the story brand method. So um I love what you said about using AI for your career path. And, we're able to even take it another step further and say, okay, let's introduce some of these models that are associated with whatever sphere we're interested in and get it put into that context.
Uh, so how do you uh I mean, what do you think? Where do most of the soul-led founders they underuse or misuse AI? I mean, what's the cost of that missed potential, Eddie?
Yeah, absolutely. I did a brief article on 2025 predictions, and I did say in there that, if you're not willing to kind of play around with AI, not going to get left behind. I'm not fear mongering, but I think there are some ways that um, you will be behind the curve. And for soul led business owners, that can feel a little that doesn't feel good to hear. And you don't need to use AI to have a successful business. Absolutely, Um, but I do think the cost at the heart of it is, time and flexibility and energy, which for most of us is what we're seeking and is why we make decisions in our business and in our career journey. We want more energy, we want more time freedom, we want more ability to spend life not just in our vocation, but in the beautiful things outside of work. And so when we utilize AI, we're cutting down on the time, on the complexity, on the mental load of key tasks within our business. And that allows us to experience a fuller life outside of it. So, on the flip side, when we're not utilizing it, when we are um, doing everything manually, we are robbing ourselves of that time and that energy as well. Again, back to the thought partnership one, like there have been times when talking to ChatGPT has like cut through days and weeks of me agonizing and spinning over something, it's it that those are weeks that I've gained back, weeks of mental drain and energy that I've gained back. So I think that's the ultimate cost for soul led founders. And, um, for us, that's especially critical because we want to live that holistically rich and beautiful life.
Yeah, you yourself, you are the biggest example here for all of them. Great, great. And a bit of a, you know, uh, just before we wrap up the conversation, isn't there a danger in viewing AI as a release valve? If it keeps
Mm,
founders from addressing deeper issues, like control or perfectionism, especially consciously or subconsciously, we know that it's not a human, it's just a machine. So that kind of disclaimer will stay within us, that
yeah.
okay, it's a machine, I'm just kind of leaving and giving away my darkest
Mm.
feelings to a machine. And how can I trust on it to help me understand what is wrong with me?
Yeah. Yeah, that is a very considerable ethical concern and data privacy. I do think some of that concern can be mitigated by using AI models and going through companies that um, are committed to privacy, to ethical practices,
Mhm.
and that's become increasingly more important for me. Um, Also, I live in a country where while I know my data can be used and sold, it likely won't be used in any retaliatory way. I think depending on where somebody's listening from, the security and safety concern can be an even bigger issue, more than just knowing their data is sold. So for me, I I do try to have some I do try to like, I don't put names of people or anything like that. As if I mean, if somebody could access my model and really wanted to get that data, I'm sure they could figure it out. But, there are some things that I do not disclose to AI, and there's some things that I do disclose that other people would be like, "I would never, put that in a chat put that in ChatGPT or whatever," or that experts recommend not to, you know? So I think that really the heart of it is researching and seeing where you're comfortable, and for me, yeah, it's also pros and cons and the weighing it. Being able to talk to ChatGPT, has really helped me untangle some very hairy issues, and for me, it was worth the cost of knowing that some personal information, not passwords, social security numbers, none of those kind of things, but personal details are out and about in the technological ether, and so I do think everybody has to understand where they fall comfortably with that, and also recognizing that, I mean, for most of us, we're not doing anything too crazy where our data would even be of special interest, but again, it is all about comfort zone, absolutely.
Mm. I think this particular thing we should be mindful about.
Yeah.
Great. And Eddie, if our listeners would like to connect with you, what would be the best way to do that?
Yes, the best way is through my website, edithodura.me. I have a weekly, sometimes twice a week, email letter that goes out that talks more about soulful business and scaling with ease. So that's the best place to find me.
Great. So, Edith, thank you so much for this honest and wonderful conversation on how AI can relieve pressure from over-functioning founders. Because, yeah, this is really such an important aspect to address upon, especially founders and entrepreneurs, because business is not an easy journey. It is not. So, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, Sana.
And listeners, that was Edith on building soul honoring systems with AI. So, if you are a founder carrying too much on yourself, it is time to release, realign, and scale smart. Until next time on AIBiz, stay curious and stay optimized. And to connect with Edith, just refer to the show notes along with this episode. Until then, I'm your host, Sana, signing off. Thank you.